Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday morning Facebook Live here at Briggs Health. I'm Jennifer Briggs, licensed acupuncturist here in Coos Bay, Oregon. Today's Facebook Live is about qi. I just read this really great article on LinkedIn about qi and blood. Because these are the things that we treat in Chinese medicine. You know, everybody wants to know, what is qi? What is it? And the most popular translation of it is energy, which sounds kind of mysterious. You know, what is energy? It's like that we learn about it in physics. It's that in the force that, you you throw a ball against something and then something falls, it's like that's one kind of energy, kinetic energy or potential energy. Like you drop something from high up and so something automatically located high up is full of potential energy, and then donk, it gets dropped and it releases energy on its way down. So we think of energy as this thing that's like not really, it's a little bit mysterious. And when it applies to the human body, it's even more mysterious because is it our thoughts? You can't touch it, you can't feel it. So how did this come about? That is the translation. The original, it's an interesting story. The original, expanded character for qi in Chinese means the steam off of cooked rice. So there's this idea that there's heat in it, there's movement, there's some kind of nutritive quality to it. What is the steam off of? We don't know what the steam off of cooked rice is, but a lot of Chinese medical texts were actually translated by a French banker in the 1930s. So this is before the US really had, clearly there were Asian people here practicing some kinds of Chinese medicine, but in terms of actual translation of texts, most of the translation of text was done originally by this banker who randomly had an interest in the Chinese language. And I'm not sure how it was that he was the one put in charge, but he must have gone to China or something. And then people were like, oh, can you translate these books? So he really had no medical knowledge. So he just took the word qi and translated it as energy. And so, we have this kind of what is it? We don't know. And if there's anything that's kind of unsatisfying to the Western mind, it's just not knowing what something is. In this country, we have been left with this kind of empty, and it makes the whole, it makes the whole medical system kind of sound like garbage. Which Chinese medicine is, I always like to say that, 1 billion Chinese people, 1.5 billion now Chinese people can't be wrong. So if their system of medicine was not useful, China would not be the most populous nation on the planet. So there's got to be something going on there. So then several years ago, I happened upon an article that talked about how that a more correct translation of qi would be essence of air, which that made sense to me. That's something that's like oxygenation of blood. And I loved that it took that, sort of nebulous concept of energy and actually it's actually a physiological thing that Western medicine can also see, because it makes no sense to me that the Chinese would have seen one thing and then Western medicine sees something completely different, right? We're all looking at the same body. So the article that I read today even takes it a teeny bit further into being a grounded real thing. And that is that what Chinese medicine actually originally treated was blood. Okay. So immediately that is that's something that we can identify with. We cut ourselves and we bleed, right? When our blood stops moving, our heart stops beating is when we're dead. Okay. So the basis of our health is actually the blood. And the chi is actually, if we, combine that concept of the essence of air, that means oxygenated blood. And chi is known to come through primarily into the body through the lungs. So it's the respiration. So the chi is like the breathing and the oxygenation, and the blood is what actually nourishes and determines the health of the body. Because when the blood stops circulating, we know that bad things happen. It's like you put a tourniquet on your arm too long and eventually your arm's going to fall off. So we know that, we use that. Western medicine uses it. They go in and clear out, clots of blood and things in the heart. They clear out the blood vessels. They literally clear them out so that the blood can continue circulating. And I just love this because, I can do woo woo, but also, and there are a lot of things that we don't see and don't know, but also in my work, I like, I'm very practical, like I have to be able to explain this to people. And again, like I said, it makes no sense that the Chinese were not looking at fundamentally different organisms than Western medicine doctors are. They're looking at human bodies. So they have to be seeing the same things. So that's just my thought for today. I like that Chinese medicine is practical. It does work. I think, eventually if some of these concepts can get straightened out and communicated between Chinese medicine practitioners and Western medicine practitioners, that we really have the potential to expand both fields. A lot of times acupuncturists will complain that Western medicine doctors don't listen to them. And a lot of time Western medicine doctors think that, Chinese medicine people are super out to lunch. And I have to say that I, can agree with both of those statements at times. It's as a but going forward, if we actually have some basis of shared communication is in common ground, so so if you are curious about Chinese medicine, or if you think that there's no way that it can work, or if you already believe but also don't think that Western medicine is good for anything, it takes all types, but know that both Western medicine and Eastern medicine really are working on the same principles, and it's not magic. It may seem like magic, but the tools that the Chinese use and the acupuncturists use are just, they're far different than what the Western medicine tends to use, but they really do work. It creates concrete and lasting change in the body. So those are my thoughts for this morning. If you have questions or comments, please leave them in the box below. If you want to write me an email about this, asking me more questions, please do. The email address is info@briggshealth.com. That's BRIGGSHEALTH.com. And you can find us online or call us, reach out. if you have questions, I will give you my best answer. All right. Hope everybody has a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.